Are you looking for a great way to warm your shoulders up before you bench press? Well, in this video, I'm gonna give you step-by-step what you do can warm up so you can have a great bench press training session or maybe even hit a PR. Hey there, Brandon Smitley here from Thirst Gym. And when it comes to hitting big bench press numbers, you wanna make sure you're nice and warmed up in your shoulder and your thoracic spine. So we're gonna break down here really quickly, step-by-step, what you can do to warm up every single time you go into the gym. Now, this is gonna have some phasic structure to it. And what I mean by that is we're gonna hit certain steps that are gonna kind of unlock the next step, which is gonna make the next step more effective. We don't need to be super hyper mobile to be able to bench press a ton of weight. Matter of fact, that can sometimes hurt you, but we do want to make sure that our shoulders feel good week in and week out. We don't want to have issues from the shoulder actually start to come down into the elbow and the wrist. And so a lot of elbow tendonitis can actually be mitigated by what we're doing from a warm-up perspective at the shoulder, at the scapula, and at the thoracic spine. So this warm-up today, I'm going to walk you through, will be the only warm-up you'll need to bench press big weights. All right, the first thing you're gonna need here is the foam roller, and we're gonna perform a breathing drill. Now, I know many times these breathing drills can look super annoying, they're not effective, but I can tell you right now, this one breathing drill is going to really help you improve your range of motion front to back of your rib cage. So the bad thing about the bench press is super compressive from front to back, which that means our rib cage actually gets kind of squished from front to back and it widens out. So we're gonna use the foam roller to help compress us side to side so that as we breathe front to back. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the foam roller, you're gonna place it slightly underneath like your nipple line. Legs are gonna be around 90 degrees here. You're gonna use your other hand here for support. You're actually going to lean and crunch over the foam roller. That's gonna compress, in this case, the left side of my ribs. I'm gonna take my top hand, I can reach over or I can reach out in front. If you got really, really bad shoulder mobility and you feel like you're arching through your back to do this, we go ahead and reach out in front a little bit. But what we really want to try to do here is make sure that we're reaching in some capacity. If you can reach overhead without cheating and arching through your back, do that. And then you're going to hang out here, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, and then try to melt into that foam roller. So as you can tell, as I'm taking each breath, I'm slowly melting in the foam roller a little bit more. So by being able to squeeze our ribcage side to side, lets us breathe front to back, so that now when we actually go to do some soft tissue work and some different mobilizations, we're actually going to be able to move more. You can also test and retest this, so you can measure your internal external rotation. So you could just look at it like this, do the breathing moves, come back, retest, and see if your internal external rotation is better. More cases than not, it is going to be better, which is going to be great for our next couple steps. Okay, the next step, we're going to stay right where we're at here with the foam roller, and we're actually going to foam roll our lats up into our armpit. And this is going to be a lot of foam rolling, okay? I don't think you need to marry to the foam roller, but opening up your lats after doing that compression can be a good thing. So I take my hand here and then roll that foam roller just around that armpit area until it feels like I've actually kind of warmed up a little bit. You know, 5, 6, 8, 10 passes is usually all that you need, and then you're gonna do both sides. And that's gonna open the lats up so we can get overhead. But we're not overhead. If our lats are warmed up, that's gonna help our shoulders feel better, so that as we go to engage those lats, we're gonna actually be able to use them to actually sit that bar in during our bench press. All right, the last thing we're gonna do soft tissue work-wise, I'm gonna take a lacrosse ball here and I'm gonna basically rub this across my chest by using a wall. So I'm gonna lean in close, put that up on my pec, arm nice and long, and just come across my chest, nice and slow and controlled, really trying to focus more towards that shoulder rather than anything else. You can also make some circles. You're just gonna go back and forth for about 20 to 30 seconds on each side. That's gonna help get us into some better range of motion as well, bring some blood flow and make things feel good. Again, foam rolling does not need to be a 20-minute thing. Just do 20 to 30 minutes on each side. We're talking a minute or two at most. If you can't make that happen, that's kind of sad in my opinion, but it's just a great way to get the shoulder opened up for everything we're about to do right now. All right, now we're gonna focus on some thoracic spine mobility. So the first thing I like is the cat-cow or cat-camel. I'll hear it a bunch of different ways. We're gonna go hands and knees here. We're going to exhale, really, really reach. The big thing here with the reach is we want to get those scapulas to come around the rib cage. So good exhale, and then arch, and then exhale. Trying to make sure I also bring my pelvis underneath me as I do that. So I'm arching and reaching, arching and reaching. So I like this about 8 to 12 times, depending upon how tight you are. I'm pretty tight. I usually do about 10 or 12. If you're a little bit more limber, you can probably get away with less, but you really want to make sure that you're extending and flexing, really getting that spine to start to open up, just like we would do if we're going to start to try to arch in that bench press. We're going to open that portion of it up. All right, step number 2 in the thoracic mobility is this drill that I've really liked, more so recently, but any kind of thoracic-based drill, working on rotation and flexion is good, but this band-assisted option for us lifters is great because we probably are not having great thoracic spine mobility, and this can help force us into new ranges of motion. So you're gonna take the band, put it around your shoulder, and then you're going to actually get in a quadruped or hands and knees position here. And so notice the band is trying to pull me towards that rack, right? So what I'm gonna do is take my hand up my head. I'm going to bring my elbow down towards my knee to flex, and I'm gonna exhale, let that band continue to pull me open. Flex, exhale, flex, exhale. Really trying to open up each time. And then I would do both sides. My recommendation here, again, is to do about 8 to 10 per side, really making sure you're focused on that exhale, opening up as you do that. You may feel your back pop a little bit, totally normal, but this is going to open up each shoulder individually, and you'll be able to notice immediately if you've got one shoulder that's a little bit tighter than the other. And by opening up that aspect of the thoracic spine in terms of extension, flexion, and now integrating some of that rotation, that's going to open up the upper back even more for this final thoracic spine motion we're gonna do. All right, the last thing we're gonna do here is the kettlebell arm bar, and I've been a huge proponent of this over the past several years, just in a general warm-up regardless of how you train. I think it's just a great, fantastic warm-up exercise that's all-encompassing. But it's great for the bench press because now we're gonna take our shoulder through internal and external rotation. We're gonna sync it with our breathing. We're gonna get some rolling, which can be good for some of our rib mechanics, but then we're also gonna be able to open up our thoracic spine as well as we do this. So you get a lot of great benefits here. So you're gonna take the kettlebell, you're going to reach towards the ceiling like you're gonna do a Turkish get-up. You're gonna take your leg, that's the same one as the kettlebell here, you're gonna bring it up and around a 90 degree angle. This hand out here is gonna be by your side just for support. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this kettlebell, reach across, knee's gonna come across. You're going to take a big inhale as you do that. Rotate that arm away, so thumb is facing away, still reaching towards the ceiling. As I inhale, I wanna try to take this down leg, reach it across the turf here. And then as I go to exhale, I'm gonna roll back, twist my thumb the other way, and roll. Should be pretty fluid, so inhale, and then exhale. Inhale, exhale. And now I can already tell that my shoulder's starting to feel much more warmed up. I went through internal and external rotation, I got that thoracic spine mobility, and I really use my hips to try to help get into that position even better. So now that I've added some load, now I can actually do the active part, and we're going to segue into stuff to actually get the blood flow temperature up, muscle towards the skin, so then we can get underneath the bar. Okay, now we're gonna grab a band. So a mini band, micro mini band, doesn't really matter. It's just gotta be a relatively light band here. And we're gonna use this to now open up our shoulders a little bit. So now that we've kind of rolled, got our T-spine opened up, I'm gonna take this and just do some basic shoulder dislocations. So just back and forth. Again, doesn't really matter how many you do, go until you kind of feel good. I personally go back and forth about 8 to 10 times, trying to bring my hands in every couple reps. As you can see, I'm kind of walking my hands in. That's gonna continue to open up my shoulder. Then I go with an alternating one as well. So I come around and bring the other one. I just go back and forth. Same thing, about 5 or 6 times each side until my shoulders start to feel warmed up. Now that I've got my shoulders warmed up and feeling a little bit more mobile from that, now we're actually gonna do some activation-based drills. And the first thing I like is a band pull-apart super series. So I'll link that description box below in a lot more detail. But you're gonna take your band doubled up. You're just gonna perform 10 band pull-aparts here. Then you're gonna go palms up for 10 more. Once you've done that, you're gonna go to a single band, elbows in by your side, palms down, good quality squeezes here. You don't want to extend and cheat the exercise. It's not a very big range of motion. Good quality external rotation. Same thing with your palms up. Some more external rotation. Then you're gonna bring them up towards your face, palms away. Very small range of motion here. More external rotation. Palms towards you. More external rotation. And the final one's gonna be that band doubled up, coming overhead, reaching almost like a lat pull down to our neck, trying to feel our low traps actually pull the band down. So now I've done that, I've got a lot of blood flow into my shoulders. I can already tell they're starting to be warmed up. I got a little bit of a pump going, nothing crazy, but I can tell I'm now ready to move on to this next exercise to really start to sync things together. All right, the last kind of major thing we're gonna do here in terms of moving, getting our shoulders ready is a push-up with the opposite toe touch. Now, it's just gonna be a classical push-up, which is great for getting the chest, shoulders, and triceps warmed up, but the opposite toe touch is gonna get us reaching overhead, get our scapula to do some upper rotation. We're gonna get that T-spine mixed in. We're gonna get some extra hamstring mobility. It's just a great overall full body warm up, but I really like it for bench press because of what it does for the scapula and integrating those muscles like we kind of talked about that we're gonna need to actually bench press. So from here, come down, push up, reach to the opposite toe. Down, reach to the opposite toe. So you're just gonna go back and forth. Same thing until you get about 5 or 8 reps each side. Just depends on what you want to do and how you feel. I personally usually do about 5 on each side. I usually start to feel good, and I'm ready to move on to the very last piece of our warm-up. Okay, the last piece of the warm-up, I just do some direct hypertrophy work with incredibly light dumbbells or kettlebells. Now, this is completely optional. This is a little bit like a winning warm-up, but I've kind of put together my own circuit, so you can use this if you want. But really, any kind of really light dumbbell work for the upper body before we actually go to touch the bench press. So the goal is to try to get the heart rate elevated. Again, more blood towards the muscle, warmed up, and for the specific muscles that we're gonna use. So I usually like to grab 10, 12, 15-pound kettlebells. I'm just gonna grab 10s here for today. And so what I like to do is I like to start off with some lateral raises or 10 and 2 lateral raises here, bringing the kettlebell out in front of me. So I usually do about 10 or 12 of each movement. Sometimes I don't even count. I just go until it starts to actually feel good. I actually feel like I got some blood flow going here. Then what I do is I come to a kettlebell bottoms up overhead press. Since I got kettlebells, otherwise you can do a regular Arnold press, but you're gonna bring them here in front of you, and you're just gonna control them and press overhead. Try to be strict, really make those Arnold presses. Same thing, 8, 10, 12, 15 reps, whatever feels good. Then from this position, I'm gonna take the weights, I'm gonna go right into dumbbell or kettlebell curls. So in my case, same thing, 10, 12, 15 reps. The key I would recommend here is that you use a supinated grip. That's gonna help your shoulder feel better. It's gonna help keep some of that bicep tendonitis away. But again, just get a little bit of a bicep pump going. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay down on the turf. So I'm just gonna do some skull crushers here. So straight down to the ground here, do some skull crushers. Nothing crazy again, 10, 12, 15 reps. Just enough until I get some blood flow going. And then from this position, I immediately go into flies. So again, I can't go all the way down, but that's okay. I already did my push-ups and everything. I'm just gonna go into these flies here. Same thing, 10, 12, 15 reps, whatever feels good. And then once I've done that, then we're gonna go back up to our feet, and then we're gonna just do some rear delt raises. So we're gonna go here, come up, same thing, 10, 12, 15 reps, just enough until you're nice and warmed up. Feel that going, and then you're good to go. So I just went through that circuit incredibly fast compared to what I normally do, and I can already tell. I got some blood in my arms, blood in my shoulders back. I'm breathing a little bit heavy. I'm now ready to go get underneath that bar and actually bench press. Everything's activated, everything's warmed up, everything's mobilized, everything has been optimized so I can bench press the most amount of weight for this given session. All right, that is what, in my opinion, is the best warm-up that you can do to go bench press. Now, there's a billion different exercises that you can do to warm up your upper body, your T-spine, your shoulders. In the day, your warm-up should just fit what works best for you. You know what works best for you. This is something I've kind of comprised over my years of being in strength and conditioning and powerlifting, and I found that this is just a good, optimal way to get warmed up. It checks every single box that you need from a performance perspective, a movement perspective, a health perspective, and an optimization to be able to perform well. I think that's ultimately what you're probably after if you're watching this video trying to improve your bench press. However, I also want this to be time efficient. We don't want to warm up for 50 freaking minutes. I can get all this done in about 10-ish minutes, which is plenty of time to warm up. Sometimes you might want to, pull it down to 5, so you might skimp on the breathing, skimp on the foam rolling, and just go into some mobilizations, jump on the bike, do some quick dumbbell work, and then go. Again, it's all really up to you, but the key thing is that you do a couple different things. You get at least a mobilization drill in, you do something that's actually gonna aid your bench press that you need to probably work on. For me, like it's the thoracic spine mobility, but more mobilizations are not a bad thing, but also some activation for your rear delts, your upper back, your chest, something that gets some blood flow going, get your heart rate elevated, and then you can go bench press. If you're checking those major boxes, you're probably gonna be okay, but if you're just looking for something a little more thorough, looking for something a little more long-term thought out, actually sequenced through so that you can optimize that to optimize your performance. So if you're watching this to improve your meet performance, I totally get it. This is a great way that you can definitely get that done. And again, just a very simple step-by-step process. So if you happen to enjoy today's video, I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, like, comment, share, subscribe, share with a friend. All that really helps me out if you happen to like this video, and I'll see you at the next video.